Are Tua and the Dolphins done? We'll talk about the latest reports about Tua's future, plus NFL Week 2. It's a preview episode of the Jake Asman Football Show, which means Cole Thompson joins us for his weekly spot. Here we go. It all starts right now.
Oh, yeah. It's time for the Jake Asman Football Show. Brought to you by BetUS. Expert betting odds and fantasy stats. So let's get into some NFL football. Brought to you by our friends at BetUS. So get your questions ready. Here's your host, Jake Asman.
Here we go. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Football Show. As always, we are presented by our friends at BetUS. Joining us right now, as he will throughout the football season, every Friday on the Jake Asman Football Show, is my good friend, longtime NFL reporter and analyst, Cole Thompson, down in Houston. What's up, Cole?
Told you Hawaiian Friday was going to be back, so we're not getting rid of it just because we don't have it on the Jake Asman Show. God, I am sad today, Jake. I am just not feeling well because of one of the greatest to ever step foot in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. May have played his very last down for all we know. And honestly, it's one of those things where you can't blame him. You honestly, at this point, cannot blame him whatever decision he tries to make.
It's one of those stories that there's just so little info on where it's going to go. It feels weird even like speculating, oh, this is it. You had Antonio Pierce of the Raiders come out, and he just made some comments that he thinks Tua should retire. Tony Gonzalez on the postgame show for Amazon last night is talking about it. It's a scary situation, and we'll try and get into it here. Mike McDaniel did give an update earlier today, the Dolphin head coach, saying there's no timeline on a potential return. So, look, this is his fifth concussion in 2 years, and it's the second time on national TV we saw him go into that fencing pose. It's a scary situation, Cole, and you know, it's one of those things where last year he protected himself. He played every regular season game, but it just shows you're still always just that one hit away from something like this happening. And I think on the play where he got hurt, he just became a football player, right? Fourth down, trying to make sure his team got the first down. The yellow line's not there for players in real time. So instead of sliding, he dove forward. And it's just a terrible situation. Honestly, I'm no Dolphin fan, of course, but you never want to see a player get hurt. And, you know, this is a guy that obviously has a history with this type of stuff. So just a terrible story, and awful to see that play out last night.
The other thing I want to just make clear, and there are people out there that certainly will find a joy in this because of Damar Hamlin was back on the football field. Stop making the jokes about Damar Hamlin getting revenge. That's not important. That's not what Hamlin was trying to do. I've seen far too many people say Damar Hamlin won life after football, zero. Like, just stop. Absolutely stop. That's not his point. He never would make that point. But for Tua, the bottom line is that there are things that we look at this moment in his career. It's not just the 5 concussions. It's the 2 concussions live on television. And it's also the fact that last time he took the field, they rushed him back. And immediately, that was a bad decision. We all knew it was a bad decision. But also, we realized that it's on national television. The fencing pose is a big deal. And Mike McDaniel did say something that was really important that I don't think enough people are talking about. You are not the quarterback for this team today. You are the quarterback for your family. Your family comes first, and they have to have a serious conversation about what is best for him. It's not that he is just a guy who is married, going through the life of hopefully one day having kids. He has 2 small kids. He has to realize that at some point, you want to be able to remember your kids' names. You want to be able to remember your names. We started to see players wear the guardian cap in practice, including quarterbacks, and it's become a major mainstay. And we even saw Jonathan Taylor during the preseason, I think, wear the guardian cap. Well, why are we not seeing Tua do that at this point? Because, yes, it looks dorky, but you know what doesn't look dorky? When you're 50 years old and your brain is mush. That's not dorky. That's just sad, and it's preventable. It's easily something that we can look back and say, you can make these type of moves that will protect you better. And the even worst part is that Tua did everything right last year. But the fundamentals is still, he is being a football player. And being a football player means you're taking on contact. And at this point, he lost 16 pounds of muscle to gain a little bit more speed. And he's not able to play in those type of situations. So you look at where this team is. They can win at least games without Tua. They can win with Tua. But it does feel like that there is some limitations overall to his performance. He's made over $73 million. He's made over $73 million in his career. And on top of that, you look at He's going to get $93 million for signing on the dotted line and guaranteed money, what he got in that contract. So he's going to get his payment. He is. What more do you need to see? What more do you need to see to know this is not okay? You don't go spend time with players who have CTE that at this point have no adaptability of life. They have nothing left than just sit in a chair and wait for the Grim Reaper to come meet them on death's doorstep. That's what you have. And that's what Tua can prevent. So what are we doing here?
It's tough though, because this guy's whole life is football. If he thinks he can make a recovery and he wants to play, like that's his livelihood. Like this guy grew up wanting to be an NFL quarterback, and I mean, here's his opportunity to do it. It's just, very rarely do people do what Andrew Luck did and just walk away. It's rare. And you look at the financial ramifications here. I know, as you said, he's made $73 million in his career, so he's not hurting for cash, but he signed a new deal. That deal includes $167 million guaranteed for injury, $43 million of which has already been paid. So that's factored into that $73 million you mentioned. If he's medically cleared to return to football, but opts to retire, he's foregoing $124 million guaranteed. If he's medically forced into retirement, he has a right to collect the $124 million remaining, but many people have pointed out, well, that results in arbitration and a trial between Tua, the Dolphins, doctors, insurers. So we're a long way away from, some sort of solution to his contract. But look, it's just, I think it's easier said than done for people to just say the guy should just retire. Like, you're not him. You're not in the livelihood. Your livelihood has not been football your whole life. So I wish him the best. I hope he heals up.
Jake,
it's not shocking this happened, unfortunately.
Jake, he's not going to retire. I can just tell you based off of from his body language, from his competitive nature, from who he is as a person, he's not going to retire. And we can have this conversation on and off, and we probably will. This will not be the last time that we're talking about Tua and head injuries and potential longevity when it comes to his CTE background, but he's not retiring. I do not see a scenario where, regardless of what his family says, coaches say, medical people say, he will be back out there one more time. But at that moment, this is where the Dolphins have to step into play. And I hate to be this guy, but the problem is the Dolphins will never step into play. Because when you think about it, why would they when they realize they have a quarterback that they believe can be a difference maker? And more importantly, why would they when they just gave him money? They only care about putting fans in the stands. They only care about, at the end of the day, what's best for their team, not the employees on the team. And so he's never going to leave. The organization's never going to step up and say, we have to do what's best for you and we have to protect you from yourself. We have to let you go. He's going to play again. And I will not be shocked if he plays again this season.
As long as he's medically cleared to play again.
Yes.
And that's the thing, because of how it was handled 2 years ago, where he suffers the concussion in week 1, shouldn't have been out there. Week 2, he's probably going to be placed on IR and out a minimum of 4 games. You would think. You'd think
I would
the
say
smart
he's
thing.
missing 4 games, at least.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Tua's health, the biggest story, but putting that aside to talk some actual football here on the Jake Asman Football Show, I watched what the Bills did last night, Cole, and it's another reminder that the Miami Dolphins are a fraudulent team. You go back now 2 seasons, and this is before Tua obviously got hurt, which, of course, now changes the outcome, the outlook of their season going forward. But Tua got hurt when this game was already a blowout. So let's make that clear. He was not good before the injury occurred. So once again, we now have a large sample size of 12 games where Miami is 1-11 against teams that have a winning record entering the game. They are front runners. They do not beat good teams. They were 1-5 last year, choked away the division. And despite the Bills, I still think having some real issues with their defense, having some issues with the lack of dominant skill players, they have Josh Allen. And Josh Allen owns the Dolphins, and the Dolphins can't beat good teams. So I had the Bills last night. I bet them, took them on the money line. If you give me the better quarterback getting points, I got to take them every time. And I'm not surprised in the slightest the Bills won. I'm not surprised in the slightest that when the lights came on and the Dolphins had to face a team that is perceived to be really good, they failed once again in a big spot.
Jake, let's just be completely real here. We've seen the Bills go from being the most overrated team to the most underrated team. That's really how it feels in the NFL, because of as long as you have a quarterback that is at the level of Josh Allen, you stand a chance. And they got to get better when it comes to passing. You have to establish a number one wide receiver. Is it Khalil Shakir? Is it the tight end play with Dalton Kincaid? Is it going to be Keon Coleman? Is it going to be James Cook finishing with a Pro Bowl caliber season? Whatever it is, you got to get that number one dude. But the defense still is making proper reads. They're still able to create turnovers. They're still able to make plays on third down. They're right now one of the best teams when it comes to third and short conversions. They're doing a great job of eliminating players that are marquee names. Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr. They're keeping things interesting. And you have a quarterback that, even though he is known for giving up turnovers, so was Brett Favre. And that's kind of the beauty of what you say. 73% completion rating, 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of 124. Oh, and on top of that, he's got the mobility to pick up first downs with his legs. This is a team that, once again, we cannot sleep on. We have to realize that the Bills are going to be right in that same conversation as every other contender in the AFC that is not Kansas City, because they have the quarterback. They seem to have a good identity on offense. They need to find who is going to be their number one dude. But once they get that established, they're going to lose a game in a baffling decision. They're going to win a game outright that is just a beatdown, similar to what we saw last night at Hard Rock. Regardless of it, the Bills are inevitable. So is a team that you believe, with Josh Allen, can have a shot of going to a Super Bowl. This is your favorite to win the MVP. And with Jordan Love out, I think right now you have to go ahead and bet on number 17, getting to the finish line.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at the narratives too for like an MVP award, and usually there needs to be like a storyline that's kind of built up. The storyline's there for Allen. He loses Stephon Diggs and then goes out there and has his best year. Bills either win the division or they're in the playoffs. You could see the storyline being developed there for Allen to win his first career MVP award. It's like when Mahomes won the award the year after they traded away Tyreek Hill and won the Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah, it happens. And again, the thing is, right now, when you talk about this team, maybe because if they don't have to worry about Stephon Diggs, they get to worry about establishing somebody else as a quality number one, a solid number two. You have 2 tight ends that are great at what they do, Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. I'm very excited to see what we're going to get out of Khalil Shakir now that he gets to step up in the slot. I think Keon Coleman fits this brand of offense that Joe Brady wants to run. And really, the thing that's really been holding back Buffalo for a while is the instability of a run game outside of number 17. They got the dude in James Cook that looks different this year, and he's gotten better as a pass catcher, and he seems more complete as a 3-down player. The offensive line is holding their blocks. You feel better about Spencer Brown now at right tackle. So I see this team as an opportunity to only build off of their success week by week. Eventually, we will watch that one guy separate themselves as the top target. And now we're going to look at Buffalo as a team that's going to get to 11 plus wins. They're going to be in the playoff. And lo and behold, it's going to be because of who you have at quarterback. Bottom line, Jake, you and I both know this. It doesn't matter what the rest of your roster looks like. If you have an elite quarterback, that guarantees you 3 wins that could have been losses. 3 wins might be the difference of you going to a playoff or sitting at home in January.
No doubt. He's Cole Thompson. My name is Jake Asman. It's the Jake Asman Football Show, a show I do twice a week. Every Friday, Cole is our guest talking about the Thursday night game and the upcoming NFL weekend slate for Sunday. Before we get to our picks, we'll make picks every week. Cole, congrats to you, by the way. A 3-0 week. Not bad. I went 1-2. Not great. Thank you, Jets and Giants.
This is why you listen to me.
So Cole off to a hot start in the picks. We'll make some picks coming up at the end. You're based in Houston. Sunday Night Football on NBC is in Houston this week. You got the Bears and the Texans. And, as far as this game goes, I think you look at C.J. Stroud and what he did last year. Caleb Williams entered the year, and so many people, to me, unfairly almost expected Caleb to do what Stroud did. And as we saw in that first game from Caleb, not so easy just to be historically great like what Stroud was. That's why what Stroud did to me was such an outlier, and he followed that up, of course, with a really good performance against the Colts in week 1. But what did you make of the first game for Caleb, and what are your thoughts on this Texans-Bears matchup on Sunday?
What's really funny is, and I don't mean to go to college real fast, but we see people talking about Mike Norvell and how he's a fraud and that he needs to be fired. But when I look at the situation, it's not that they're 0-2. It's that, again, Kirby Smart and Nick Saban ruined college football for expectations. That's Stroud. Stroud last year put all rookie quarterbacks on this pedestal that if you are not at my level, if you are not an elite playmaker, and you are not the savior of a franchise, automatically you're bad. You're just not the dude. Nobody cares about you. You're going to be a bust. And so it's unfair for Caleb going into his first game having to be that guy. But the other part is that he never felt comfortable. He always seemed to be one of those guys that never was able to make the proper read. You lose Rome Odunze. He had 1 catch for 11 yards. That's a relationship that you believed was going to blossom. And I think it just takes more time. The offensive line was a turnstile. They did have they were like mixing in both Ryan Bates and Nate Davis. So you didn't feel comfortable with who was playing that left guard spot. Braxton Jones was losing a couple of battles whenever he had to go up against both Tavondre Sweat and whenever it was especially Jeffrey Simmons. I think we also got to give a lot of credit to what Tennessee's defensive line looks like. They made life pure hell for Williams, which is going to be the new norm on Sunday night when they go up against the Texans, because you saw 2 sacks by both Foley Fotokoski and Mario Edwards. You also saw 2 great pressures by Daniil Hunter and by Will Anderson Jr. Their secondary played great, which again, Tennessee's secondary played better than advertised. He's going to get it done. I think that at some point we will watch Caleb take that next step. The lights will turn on. He'll be more concise. He'll be able to go through his progression a lot faster. But also you have to realize that this is a week where Rome Odunze is probably not playing. You haven't seen Keenan Allen out at practice all week. So now you're turning to not only just having one dude in DJ Moore, who is a difference maker, but also you're looking at a guy like Tyler Scott having to step up. You're looking at a guy like DeAndre Carter probably having to play a bigger role. And this is not the game where you're going to be able to create that separation. The explosive plays were a big reason why Anthony Richardson got things close in Indianapolis. I don't think that you have those type of receivers outside of DJ Moore that can be those difference makers. But again, when you look at Caleb Williams, everything that we saw in that game is correctable, but also we have him on this pedestal the same way we put Trevor Lawrence on a pedestal. Has to be this type of player to live up to warrant the hype. Well, we as people were the ones that did the hype. So if we just kind of said, oh, no, he's going to have his growing pains like every other rookie, and that CJ Stroud was an anomaly, okay, there we go. He's going to have his growing pains. That's what we saw in week 1. Congratulations for a defense being able to create a really good overall back half of the second half that ended up getting a win.
Time to make some picks, baby. So if you're new to the show, each week, Cole and I each pick 3 games against the spread. All these odds are available right now at BetUS Sportsbook. You see the week 2 NFL schedule up there on the screen. I also want to mention this. If you sign up for BetUS, you will receive a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Use code YouTube150, YouTube150 for that 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits at BetUS. You could click on the link to the BetUS Sportsbook website in the description for this video. But check it out. BetUS is the presenting sponsor for the Jake Asman Football Show, and all the lines and different gambling references we make are right from their sportsbook. All right, Cole, since you went 3-0 last week, you could decide if you want to go first or if you want to go second with your first pick.
Let me go first, knock it out of the way, because I'm going to talk about your favorite team, the New York Jets. I like them on the road, 3.5 against Tennessee. I think Tennessee is not going to be well prepared with the offensive line. There's still some growing pains when you look at what this unit can be in the secondary. I look at what you saw last week. You kind of probably said it best. You look at Aaron Rodgers, you saw drives to where he looked like prime Aaron Rodgers. You saw moments where the defense didn't help him out. They played against a really good team that last year was in the Super Bowl and really just a few plays away from hoisting up the Lombardi Trophy. And that was kind of the difference in this game. So I think that when you look at Garrett Wilson, he's going to be able to create separation against L'Jarius Sneed. I think you will see a better performance from Allen Lazard, even though he was great when it came to the moments of stepping up. I think that you will see a quality outing from Breece Hall once again, even though that defensive line is penetrable. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a really good game. Plus, you don't trust Will Levis. You never trust Will Levis, and you certainly do not want him to have anything less than a 10-point lead going into the second half. So give me Jets at -3.5.
Wow, you're taking the Jets.
I am. I'm taking the Jets.
I hope you stay hot because I could really use you to be right about that one. All right, my first game, I am not touching the Jets this week with any of my picks, but my first game is a game that is ugly, but I just have a feeling that this team is going to respond well, even with the spread being as high as it is. I'm going to Baltimore. I am taking the Ravens. It's 10 points. It's a lot of points. I understand that, but I think the Ravens with extra time to prepare. They have a significant coaching advantage in this game. Harbaugh versus Pierce. They have a significant quarterback advantage in this game. They have a rest advantage in this game. So I think you combine all that. Ravens home opener, that place being up for grabs. I love the Ravens to blow out the Raiders. I think they win by at least 2 scores. They cover the number, which is 10 right now. So Ravens, I know it's a big number. It's scary, people. I get it. But Ravens laying the 10 for my first pick. Cole, now you're second.
So I ain't locking that in because I actually have the Raiders at plus 10. I can't. That's too big of a line. I'm sorry. I can't do it. But what
are we going head to head?
Yeah, I'm not. No. God, no. I'm not bold enough to make that claim either way because I don't trust Gardner Minshew in any primetime situation. But you know what I do trust is close calls against a quality AFC contender now back at home. I rode high last week with the Arizona Cardinals. Give me the Arizona Cardinals again. I think you're going to see a much better performance from Marvin Harrison Jr. I get last week he had a very lackluster 1 catch for 4 yards, but you saw, as I told you, Michael Wilson's going to be a dude that we got to talk about. I told you, you got to talk about what you got in James Conner. I told you that offensive line looks better. I told you last year they played close in 6 one-possession games, and they're going to do the exact same thing against the Los Angeles Rams in their home opener. Think about this for a second, Jake. You're not only without Puka Nacua, you're out without 3 now starting offensive linemen. You still have question marks when it comes to your secondary. You still have question marks when it comes to your pass rush. Yes, you played close against the Detroit Lions team, but also they gave you opportunities to strike. I love the fact that we're playing at State Farm Stadium. I love the fact that we're going to get Kyler Murray to be able to build that relationship once again with Marvin Harrison Jr. And I just don't trust the Rams right now. They're too unstable. They have too many injuries that I feel like are going to lean too much in favor of a team like Arizona. And this again is going to be one of the best 6-win teams we have seen this year. Hammer the 1-point line in favor of what we're looking at with Arizona.
So you like them to win outright as a?
I love them to win outright. Give me them by a touchdown.
So actually they're a 1-point favorite. So
yeah, so no, 100%. I'm still saying they're going to win by a touchdown. They may win by 10 points.
All right, so Rams at Cardinals. Cole's on the Cardinals -1. All right, my next game here, Cole. I love the Chargers against the Panthers. I think the Panthers are an absolute joke of a franchise right now. I would never pick the Chargers in this spot if they didn't have Harbaugh as their coach. But I think because they have a legitimate coach, I'm not as worried about the letdown after the big win last week. I just think Bryce Young's terrible. Harbaugh will expose them. I think the Chargers go into Carolina. I know it's cross country. I get all that. It's a big number. You'll see it up on the screen right there. It's 6.5 at BetUS Sportsbook. But I like the Chargers to get the 2-0. They pick up a win over Bryce Young and the Panthers, who fall to 0-2. It's a big number, but I like the Chargers to cover.
Big number, but also a bad number. Sorry, I'm thinking that Carolina is going to be able to hold this one out. Final one. We're going to my neck of the woods. Texans versus Bears. Here's the thing. I believe that what we saw in the performance by Caleb Williams at home will never happen again this year. I also believe that those who are putting the literal 4,000-yard number on his back are absolutely asininely insane, stupid. Please stop, Bears fans. You've been here before with Mitch Trubisky. You did this to Justin Fields. Can we please stop giving these grandeur expectations for a dude that just is getting used to playing in an NFL matchup? I think the Texans, however, are the better team simply because they have now an established run game. Seriously, look at what you watched last week with Joe Mixon being able to ground and pound it in a Bobby Slowick offense. They come from the same ideologies of the Shanahan coaching style. This is why he was a plug-and-play, immediate fit, leads the NFL right now in 178 total scrimmage yards. You're watching that relationship form with Stephon Diggs, 2 tutties, including the game winner inside the red zone. You also were seeing the big-time ability of a guy in Nico Collins. And we have not even talked about Tank Dell and what he provides. Yes, very good secondary for Chicago that you have to respect. Yes, very good performance last week from Darrell Taylor. Very good performance from Montez Sweat. But you're not going to have Rome Odunze. I don't believe you're going to have a fully healthy guy in Keenan Allen. I think that when you look at a guy such as DeAndre Swift against this defensive front seven, it's not going to be great performance. Hammer 10.5 points in this game, but it's only a -7. So I'm taking the touchdown lead for Houston. They come out with the 10-point victory.
Okay, so you're going with 3 favorites this week, Cole. Jets -3.5 at the Titans. Cardinals at home laying the 1 against the Rams. And Texans on Sunday Night Football, where Cole will be up in the press box. laying the 7 against Caleb and the Bears.
Hammering the 7. That is my best bet of the week. Absolutely.
All right. Loves the Texans. There you go. I have the Ravens laying the 10 against the Raiders. Chargers laying 6. We're all on favorites this week. Chargers minus 6.5 at the Panthers. Oh, I didn't get one more game. I have one more game.
You still have one more game. Yeah.
Well, I'm on a favorite, so I just spoiled it. Cowboys minus 6 against the New Orleans Saints. I think the Saints were a product of playing a garbage team in that first game, and I don't think Derek Carr is nearly as good as he played. I think Dallas is underrated. We talk about the Cowboys like they're terrible. They choke in the playoffs. I get that, but they win 12 games in the regular season every year. They're at home. I think Dallas plays well. They win by at least a touchdown, and they cover that number, which I'm seeing right here over at BetUS at 6. So I'm laying the 6 and taking Dallas in their home opener.
Jake, let's just for fun pick one under. Just one under, just for fun.
You got a game you like?
Yeah, I do. I'm absolutely going to hammer New York Giants at +1 against the Washington Commanders. I think
you need to take one underdog.
Yeah.
I got you. You said under. I thought you meant like a point total. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I actually almost picked the Giants again, but I didn't want to make the same mistake twice. If there's one thing Daniel Jones does well, he always plays well against the commies. And I think going on the road is actually better for the Giants because, I mean, they were getting booed after the second play of the game last week. It was just a hostile home environment. The fans just didn't want to sit through Daniel Jones again. I think going on the road in a place where DJ has actually played well, if he has any spine, any hope left, he'll put a good game together, and I can see the Giants winning.
I think the Giants can win. I also do like what Hawk is saying in the chat, which, again, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Hawk on something gross, but still, +7 for Tampa Bay against Detroit. I think this is a really good Detroit front 7, but Baker Mayfield looked awesome last week. He was the highest rated quarterback passer rating. He had the highest rated quarterback QBR. He was everything that you want to see from a guy that you're paying $100 million to. I think this one comes down to a game-winning field goal. I have Detroit winning, but I think that this is going to be a battle to the finish line.
Super chat from Hennessy before we wrap up. All I heard all offseason from Dolphins fans was Rodgers better stay healthy and mocking us and Rodgers all year. Karma's a bitch, fried fish. Look, they did mock the Jets. They did mock Rodgers' injury. Not all, but I don't blame Hennessy Heisman for feeling that way because at the end of the day, we all said, oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, this and that. And it's like, yeah, but it's a year-to-year league, man. Let's not forget the storyline going into the Dolphin season a year ago was, well, Tua can't stay healthy, and he did. So you just never know year to year. I wish Tua the best, but to all those Dolphin fans who mocked the Aaron Rodgers injury a year ago at this time, karma is, in fact, a bitch.
I do wonder, just out of curiosity, the dude that we met in Las Vegas when we were there for Radio Row with the Circa, is he alive right now? The big Dolphins fan? Did he just jump off of a bridge? Can we find out where he's at? He said that he took your card. Let's give him a call and make sure that he hasn't gone ahead and offed himself. He was very old and drinking tequila, so he might be drinking his sorrows away and could have been arrested last night. If you're out there, dude, just please know we care about you. Before we go, Dano wrote in, Cole, is that a mic or are you just happy to see us? I'm always happy to see you guys. And also, no, it is a microphone. See, here's the bottom, but at first I didn't exactly help your case there, but you don't want to see the 10 I'm pitching underneath the actual underneath the actual thing. Cole, excellent job. Enjoy Sunday Night Football in Houston. Make sure the press box food is on point. I will make sure the food is on point, but here's also what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that the Jets get a defensive touchdown because I have them in fantasy, and I need to actually get a better performance from what we saw last week. So bold call. DJ Reed, pick 6 against Will Levis. Calling it, locking it in. I'll come back next week, and everyone's got to owe me a free drink. I'll kiss you on the lips if that happens. All right, there we go. You got to deal. Oh my God, please. Let's see how this goes over. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Cole Thompson. Follow him on Twitter at Mr. Cole Thompson. Cole, your YouTube channel, where can people subscribe? At Mr. Cole Thompson. If you want to check me out, talk all things SEC, it's at SEC Unfiltered. Both channels. So at Mr. Cole Thompson, at SEC Unfiltered. If you do that, I'll give you a kiss on the lips. Actually, you know what? I won't do that because if I want you guys to subscribe. So please. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Cole Thompson. My name is Jake Asman. We are presented by BetUS. If you need a sports book, this is the book for you. Use promo code YouTube150 and you see it there on the screen. You'll get a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. He's Cole Thompson. My name is Jake Asman. This has been another Jake Asman Football Show. Please click that like button on your way out. If you're new, subscribe to this channel. Enjoy the games this weekend, everybody. And we will talk to you soon. Have a good one. And of course, enjoy your weekend.